Hello there. Welcome to another webinar brought to you by Adsing Marketing. I'm really excited about today. It's actually how I first got into marketing was through SEO. So this is going to be an amazing, hopefully informative webinar for you out there. So through this whole experience, go ahead, feel free, chime in with any questions, thoughts, worries, concerns you may have. I'll do my best to get to a break point and be able to actually respond to them or incorporate them in. I want to make this engaging, so there will be a few times throughout this entire webinar that will ask you, hey, what can you do? What can you take away? What's the number one thing you can utilize right now? All right. I like to utilize my slides in here, so we'll go ahead and switch these out. Hopefully you guys can still see me. This is the new 2021 SEO formula. So while we're talking about home service companies, this webinar is actually relevant for anybody and everybody. So if you want to be able to do if you want to be able to utilize, sorry, I'm trying to figure out my camera here. I'm trying to get this started. There we go. For some reason, I'm not. There I am. Okay. So I want to be able to utilize this SEO for not just home service companies, but also e-commerce businesses. If you are a SaaS company, a marketplace business, a startup, these are all useful ideas in here. At Adzing, I love this idea of digital dominance. And the whole value of it is to be able to control and beat your competition and not just one medium of marketing, but across multiple channels of marketing. We want to make sure your competitors are not beating you, whether it's through search engines, through paid advertisements, through social media, and even email marketing. Anyways, you can control that once they're in your database. But all that put together starts to create this digital dominance that we'd love to talk about. It's to make it so when somebody gets inside your ecosystem, you guys can control them the entire time. You can send them the right message at the right time, whether it's an educational, a promotional, or even authoritarian type of a message that you need to send to help them convince them to buy from you. Today, we're really going to be focusing on the SEO, search engine optimization. But high level, there are some other areas, whether it is paid advertisement, retargeting. If you're a local company, it could be going on online directories as well. And then even doing pay per lead and in the referrals and affiliate programs as well. So let's just do a little bit of housekeeping before we get too far. If you wouldn't mind, just turn off your cell phones, your Facebooks, and just really hone in here for the next 60, 90 minutes. I don't think it's going to be that long. We usually try to get these within 45 minutes, but trust me, this is going to be great value. So even if you're doing this after the fact and you're watching the replay right now, I would still encourage you to go ahead and just disconnect. Make sure that you are focused, put it on for the 45 minutes, implement it, watch it, and then implement it, but take notes during this time. You can always reuse this replay as your reference as need be. And so it is going to be here. You can stop it, come back later, keep repeating the same sections if you want more and more information. Okay. There we go. Today, what are we going to cover? SEO is always changing, so we want to talk about the latest updates from Google, as well as things that you might have on your website right now that are killing you, that are hurting you really bad. We want to make sure that those are taken off, so that way you guys can actually start to improve your rankings and get more leads coming in. And lastly, it's how do we put this into action? What's knowledge without action? So we have to make sure that we can implement this and optimize your websites utilizing this new SEO formula. So a little bit about me, who am I, and what am I doing? Why you should listen to me. So I'm the founder of Adsing Marketing. We are a digital marketing company where we focus on web design, SEO, paid advertisements, social management, social ads. And we really help businesses reinvest in their companies. So that way you can either delegate and save time, you can delegate and create a system, or if you want to be able to grow, reinvest your business to grow it, get more leads, open up another office, get a new team, a second person, the 20th person, whatever it might be. We really help you guys reinvest in your business. So when we talk about the home service side, today is going to be a local SEO at the very end. I did spend a decade as a construction manager, project manager, so I know what it's like on the trade side. I'm a former business owner of Burbs, which is a startup, and I've got experience in there working on product management. I'm Google certified, and then also we work with home service providers throughout the country, whether HVAC, plumbing, kitchen remodelers, whatever it might be. All right, so let's get into this right now. Does SEO even matter, or does it still matter? Let's just walk you through what SEO is at the very end. So this is a search engine result page, SERP, a SERP, as we like to call it. The idea here is somebody goes on, they typed in Denver plumber. What this does is Google will pull up all the leads. And I'm sure everybody who's watching this has done this before. You're looking up for some type of service provider, some type of answer. Well, the reality is you have a problem and you're looking for a solution. And that is what SEO really is. Denver plumber means I've obviously got a questions or an issue with plumbing and I need help in the Denver area. So on here, you've got multiple different things. You've got everywhere from local service ads to the map pack and to the search pages down below. 71% of people click on the map pack and then the search pages below. That's 71%. So organic has high value for you because people are always going to be searching for things. They're in a new city, something that they don't use often. Like maybe I don't use a plumber that often, so I don't remember who I used last time. I always research or I always search again for a new one. So this is why it's so important because 71% of the people who come on here are clicking on these ads, or excuse me, they're clicking on the organic links. Now, you can go into even further. You can go on the second page of Google, which is only like 5%, 10% of the people that actually make it that far. You can go down to the bottom of the first page and be in the top 10, but maybe like 5 through 10. That gets about 15% of the clicks. And even if you go to the map pack, sometimes if you don't like the first 3, you can click on them and see even more. So does SEO still matter? Yes. Yes, 100% yes. It absolutely does. Now, SEO, we understand the end of it. The value is to get on Google, Bing, Go.go, all the search engines. In fact, Amazon and YouTube have their own SEO. Those are search engines as well. But let's talk a little bit more about what it actually is and how do we get there. So I like to break this down into 3 key sections for SEO. We talk about the technical, on-page SEO, and off-page SEO. To me, this is like a radio station. Now, where a lot of agencies will fail you is they'll just focus on page and off page. Why? Because those are things that you can actually see and measure quickly. But it's not setting it up the right way. So I tell people this is like a radio station. If you have like a radio show, excuse me. So if you have a radio show, think about the 3 key elements that you need. You need to have the studio. So you got to have the microphone, the electricity to come and turn it on. That's technical. That's the foundation. Then the second part is the personality. You have to have the radio voice to come on in and, welcome to 72.9 KGU, whatever it might be. You have to have that personality that comes on there. And then the last part is the off page. So the off page is let's send these signals out into the real world. So have to have the technical, the radio station. You have to have the personality, and then you have to have the technology that sends the airwaves out. Same idea when we talk about SEO. We talk about technology side of it. Well, the technology is the foundation. It is the core foundation. If you don't have a microphone or you don't have a radio station, then it's just somebody talking inside of a head or wherever they might be. So you have to have the technical foundation. We like to utilize content management systems, plugins, and then the on page is our personality. This is your time to really sell to the client over here. So technical has nothing to do with the client face to face. It's more for Google and more for the operation side of it. The on page is your personality. This is where we can actually talk a little bit about who your company is, what you do, share some good photos, some videos of the layout can even matter. This is like forms that people can fill out. And the last part is off page. So off page matters because this is building good backlinks in here. Backlink is a popularity contest. If you hang out with the cool kids, other people will think you're cool because you're around them. It's also about building up your reviews and your profiles on citation sites and directories. So that way people can find them there, or Google can see you're on all these different places. So for example, if you're a real estate agent, you want to be listed on Zillow and other type of real estate directories. So that way Google can check all those spots and put together a pattern and say, you know what? This is obviously a realtor person. Here's their name, here's their address, here's their phone number. We feel more comfortable and confident. We know who you are. We're going to bump you up higher in our rankings. SEO versus paid advertisement. I love to talk all things marketing. And yes, we're going to talk about the strength of SEO, but just to give people a good comparison, because if you're a new business owner, this is an important thing, or you're a business owner who's trying to get to the next level. This is a new thing. The nice thing about paid advertisement, it's like a light bulb. You can buy it, you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, you can buy it, you can twist it in, turn it on, and you get paid, or sorry, you get charged every second that you use it. So if you leave it on 24/7, you're going to get charged 24/7. If you leave it off for 5 years, you never get charged. SEO is more like farming, where it takes a longer time, and then you have to make a decision early on. Am I going to be planting roses, an orange tree, an apple tree? And as a big farm, you have to wait till the end of the season, and then it takes 6 months, 9 months to actually get up and get going and really, get the labor of your fruits in there, fruit of your labor. But you can't just change direction all of a sudden. You can't just turn on, turn it off like you can with paid advertisement and that's in paid and light bulbs. So the pros and cons of each. So when we talk about paid advertisement, we're talking about it's outbound, meaning you're physically cutting the line, you're trying to get in front of you, you're pushing in front of somebody who may or may not want to see it right now, but you can be very targeted with it. So targeting allows me to say what demographic, which age group, what city do I want, which websites do they visit. It's accelerated. You can pay to cut the line. That's the nicest thing about it. If you've got a $10,000 budget, you can go ahead and accelerate and get more leads that way. The downside is it's got a higher customer acquisition cost. But do you accelerate your business growth? Do you get customers in here faster? Are you getting the right type of customers? All that starts to add up. Now, SEO on the other side. So SEO is that farming, right? It takes us a long time. We're going to plant the seeds with our idea and wait 6 months, 9 months for the fruit of the labor to come. This is inbound marketing. What that means is when somebody has a problem, they're finding us now. So that's great. It's not targeted because anybody can look you up on Google, Bing. You can't be specific and say, hey, I only want to target this class or this gender or this age group. So anybody and everybody can come to your website. It is a slower marketing process. It is better for the long run because it lowers your customer acquisition cost. Most successful companies will thrive on SEO. This is what will reduce their acquisition costs. It'll increase their profit and their profit margins. And we'll go into more details later on about how you can put this all together in the digital dominance. All right, so recent changes. We're going to talk about in here how SEO is always changing. What Google does is different than Bing. If you use Yahoo, different than Yahoo. But the biggest changes that happened is you have to avoid duplicate content. It has to be original content. It has to be well-written content. Your low quality backlinks can actually hurt you now. So it used to be back in the day, people would just get 500 backlinks in here from any and every site, and would actually be because it used to be a pure numbers game, but now it's a quality game. For local SEO, you do need a physical office to rank better on the maps. If you don't tell Google exactly where you are, or you pinpoint it, they're not going to want to do that. It does change, like if you're a store or if you're like a walk-in place, they definitely need to have an address. If you are a service where you go to somebody's office, you go to somebody's home, you can get away with it a little bit, but there's still tricks and tips around that. And the biggest thing lately has also been the site speed and the whole entire user experience. Site speed absolutely matters. We got to make sure that websites are loading up fast. That way, people can get the information they want. You get 3 seconds to get somebody's attention before they leave. So things to avoid. Avoid duplicate content. Back in the day, you used to just be able to, if you had an HVAC company and you had 10 different cities you work in, you could take those 10 cities and just change Phoenix to Tempe, Tempe to Mesa. But now Google wants you to have every single page be unique enough. Tell a little bit more about what you do in Scottsdale compared to what you do in Phoenix. Maybe it's a different neighborhood, area codes, different services that you guys may have. We like to always set up location pages, and so we want to make sure it's just not redundant. Location pages can be used as a landing page to bring people in, and so it doesn't have to be 100% different, but we just got to make sure it doesn't get into the gray area of being too similar to the other page. So have custom images in there. Make sure you're using different type of images as well. The quality of your links will absolutely matter today. It doesn't matter if you have 50,000 links from a popularity of a 1 to 100. If it's 2,000 links from a 1, that's going to hurt you. It's really going to hurt you. You're better off getting 5 from 100, like a ranking of 100. So what this does is it forces people to want to go out and actually be selective about who A, they link to, and then B, who links back to them. So good things is like going out on guest blogging. That's an opportunity for you to go get a backlink out there and say, hey, can I write a blog for you? Go find a high established authority website and a web blog and offer to write it for them. Because if they're authority ranking number 50 and you're at a 20, that's really going to give you credibility all of a sudden. Now, if you're the 50 and you go to a 20, that could actually slow down your process some. And then also with the anchor text. So the anchor text is the word that it looks like, not the link, but the actual word. We want to make sure that you're not just using click here, your company name. You actually want a good keyword that goes back to your website. So for example, if you are a house cleaning company, you want, rather than saying company ABC, you'd want to say Phoenix Top House Cleaner. That is the link. That's the text that people see and they click on it and it goes to yours. Google starts to associate the keyword or the anchor text as a keyword with your link. So every single time you send it, you got to use the right keyword. You send it to this specific page. Google's going to start to associate that, hey, this is a free SEO audit. This is a cleaning 24-hour cleaning crew. You want to make sure you send them to a 24-hour cleaning crew page and not to your standard cleaning page. For SEO to really benefit on Google Maps, you're going to need a physical location. You can use your home address. It doesn't work as well. A lot of people will hide it. You can't use a Dropbox. What do you call it? PO box? Can't use those. It has to be a physical place. Google will actually mail you a postcard. You will get that postcard. You'll put it in the pen. So they mail it to your house. So that way it's a verification. Excuse me. They mail it to your business as a verification. Now, if you double it up and you've got 10 businesses from the same spot, that can actually hurt you. So you want to make sure you don't just use your friend's office, because Google can and sometimes will check it, and then they could blacklist you from showing up on their maps, or it could really hurt you as well. And then site speed. So site speed is so crucial. We're going to talk about this is the SEO technical side. There is page speed tool from Google that tell you exactly what you have to do. It's pretty simple. You plug in your website, you see what your rankings are, and it can be different from pages because sometimes I have a video on one page and then a text only page. Those are going to load differently. I've got more images, more coloring, more words. All those will load differently. So Go to page speed, look up page speed on Google, and I'll send you this little tool over here on the right. And your goal is you should always try to be getting at least above 80, and the 90s even better than that. Here's an example right here, just to kind of walk through two. You can see that the top one has a score in the 60s, and they have a D rating. The bottom one is 100%. The load time is 17 seconds versus 1 second. Nobody, and I would be willing to put a lot of money on this, nobody's going to wait 17 seconds for a website to load unless it's 1996. Today and age, you've got 3 seconds. And even then, that's pushing it. 3 seconds is all you get to load up a site quickly so that way people can come on and start to read it. There are tips and tricks that we're going to go over to help save the stuff on the website, but make it load faster. So what else has changed? So there's an old style of SEO. A lot of agencies are out there, a lot of bad agencies are out there pushing it just to get you results. But the problem is the results will only last for so long before Google catches on and punishes you. So anybody who says that they can get you to the top page in the first month or two, one or two things you need to ask is what keyword, and by what keyword, I mean, what's the volume, what's the difficulty, and then how long will I stay there? To get to the really good ones, it takes a long time to build it up. You're taking teeny tiny steps to get there. Agencies can absolutely get you to the top page of a zero difficulty keyword that gets 5 people a month looking it up. That is 100% guaranteed because it's not difficult. But if you're paying a lot of money, if you're paying a couple $100 a month for it, to get 5, it's not going to be great. So you want to be able to get that up higher. You want to know what keyword, the volume of it, the difficulty of it, how long you're going to stay there for, and can you really grow your business in there? So Google actually just released more user experience optimization. Now they really want to make sure that the pages are loading, that the information is relevant, and that you're doing the best to give the end user their best experience possible. That means Google's checking out your bounce rates, they're checking out your scroll rates, and all that matters. All right. We talked about the click through. So click through is when somebody sees you on Google, do they pass you by or do they actually click it? You want to get as high as possible in there. So you may be changing your title tags. You may be changing your meta description. You're always testing these things out. And Google respects that because they know that you're at least trying to make it better. Doesn't mean that it's always going to be the right choice. You know, if you say left versus right, people wanted to go right, you have to track that, measure it, and then go back and edit it again and again and again. You can utilize Google Analytics for a lot of this stuff to really help you on here start to track for what people are doing, their scroll rates, what their bounce rates are, how much time they're spending on here. That's the value of having Google Analytics. So that way you can say what's going on. People are only on here. I have 100% bounce rate. People aren't even coming up to my website, and it probably is site speed. Or maybe they're leaving too early because you're not sending them to the right page or you have the wrong message. Citations is a thing that's happened really in the last 5-7 years, I would say. And you want to get good citations, good reviews on Facebook, Yelp, Angie's List, Product Hunt, and for the products for e-commerce companies, a whole other slew of things out there as well. But getting citations, reputation management is part of that SEO umbrella and is important. It does pay off. So the new formula that we're going to be talking a little bit more in detail today is we want to focus on important keywords and how do we get up and slowly improve upon ourselves on that one. So we got to make sure that you're not just going for the top dog right away, because if you're brand new, you're probably not going to compete and you're just wasting your time. It's better to go after small, little easy wins and build yourself up. How important is your website? And why does your website even matter? If you've got all the right words, but the wrong system of a website, does that hurt you or does that help you? And then on page and off page optimization. So we're going to be talking about those as well coming up. So a strong technical foundation is the key. It's the key to SEO. Here's what we're looking at. So when we talk about the technical side of SEO, we're talking about images. We want to make sure we have the right plugins. We're trying to avoid errors. So Google only looks at you as black and white, like the Matrix, ones and zeros. They don't see what the pictures look like. They just know what the technical background of that picture is. So if it's too big of a photo, it slows down your website. That's going to hurt you. So you want to be able to compress your images in there. You want to make sure you don't have any bad pages with errors. So you have to redirect those. If you got rid of a page and people continue to go to it and they hit a dead end, that's bad. That tells Google that something's going wrong and people aren't having a good experience and they're not enjoying themselves. So you have to make it so you do redirects in there, especially for e-commerce companies that run out of product or change up a new line. Redirects are crucial for you guys. Lazy load. JavaScript and CSS are extremely heavy documents, especially JavaScript. So the idea here is if you had to run into a room and I gave you everything to hold at once, it'd be too much. If you opened up the door and I gave you like 20 suitcases, it'd be way too much. You'd be dropping it, you'd be fumbling it. But as you walk down the hallway, if I gave you one or two more items at a time, you could slowly start to position yourself. You're moving forward and you're adding more things in there. So lazy load, what it does is it says, do I need this JavaScript right away? Yes or no? No? Okay. Load it up 10 seconds later. Load it up 30 seconds later. Only load it when somebody scrolls by it. This allows it so the servers aren't working 100% from second number one. They're only loading up the top 20 most important things right away. Same thing with CSS. Let's make sure we have all that set up on a lazy load. Some of the tools that we like to use for plugins and even content stuff. So WordPress. Absolutely use a WordPress site. If you're in e-commerce, I would use Shopify as well. That's another good one. But WordPress does have their own. WooCommerce is a big partner on there that you could do an e-commerce style business. GT Metrics is for site speed. I love to use this one. On the far right, we've got over here plugins for Smush and Hummingbird, which helps you with your site speed and it helps you compress those images. So the images with compressing, the idea is if I take a photo, it might be the actual size, might be a 2 foot by 2 foot photo. But on my website, I only need to be 2 inch by 2 inch. So what it does is it will compress and it will resize it to be 2 inches instead of a 2 foot photo while maintaining the quality. And that's important. You don't need to load up a 2 foot page. You only need to load up a 2 inch page. So it helps you shrink those down. So that way you're only utilizing the minimum you need. Google Tag Manager is a great tool. So the idea here is there's a lot of script that goes on a website. Google Tag Manager is kind of like a universal, like a global program where rather than loading up 10 different Google apps like Google Analytics and Google Search Console and Google AdWords and Facebook Pixels, you can put it into Google Tag Manager so it only reads it one time and then there's little tiny micro steps underneath it. So it's just slimming down the whole process in there. So what 3 things could you start to put in today into your webinar or into your website? So think about maybe you need some plugins. Maybe you need to compress your images. Switch to WordPress. On-page personality. This is the microphone. This is the person talking into the microphone. This is them, their personality, their humor, their tone of voice. This is what people see when they come to the website. So this is easiest said. It's the words, it's the images, it's the layouts. So what we want are important. We want to focus on the user experience, which is sending them to the right page. And it may sound crazy, but the more you can make a page a singular action, a singular service, the better off is for you. If I'm looking up for an emergency toilet plumber and you send me to just a plumbing page and you've got 50 different services listed out, I don't have time to go find that. I want to look up for a 24-hour plumbing service and I want to see the number at the very top, call them, and you know exactly what to do from that point forward. So try not to combine a lot of different services on one page. Cities is another one. We want to be able to create specific cities and throw in what city am I in, what metro am I in, what neighborhood maybe, or zip codes do I work in. All of this helps to tell Google that this specific page right here is about Tempe, Arizona. It's plumbing for Tempe. It's HVAC. It's cleaning, whatever it might be. Utilizing those keywords in with your city starts to say that this one page is about Tempe. Anyways, I work in other cities, but this one page is about Tempe. That way, when somebody in Tempe is Googling help, it is more likely to send them to the Tempe page than a random one of yours. Every page needs to have unique content in there. Not too big of an issue until we start talking about location pages where it's the same thing over and over and over. Hey, we help service Tempe, we help service Phoenix, we help service Scottsdale. But you have to find ways to make it unique. We can actually use images in here. We can use videos in here. We can use different testimonials from clients in there. Show my Tempe clients, show my Phoenix clients. Biggest thing in here, we have to understand our headers. So there's something called an H1 and H2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only use one H1 in there. A lot of people who don't understand that, that's like the newspaper. So Google looks up like an old school newspaper when somebody, little kid holds it up, says extra, extra on it. It's usually a big bold thing, an image, and then you fold the paper down. That's above the fold, below the fold. So you only want to have one extra, extra at the very top, one big headline. That is your H1. That's what Googlebot will read really quick and say, hey, is this even the right idea? So you got to make sure you put a keyword in there. So if you're a plumber in Tempe, you should say something like serving Tempe with plumbing services. Googlebot will read that and say, Tempe, plumbing services, got it. I know exactly who you are. If someone searches Scottsdale, it won't send them to that page because they'll say Tempe. Meta descriptions is actually what you see on Google. It's the idea that it's a little bio, a little paragraph about the page before I actually click on it. It helps me out there. And then your pages should have your, what we call NAP, your name, address, and phone number in the very bottom. Somewhere in the very bottom of your footer, it's a very easy thing to set up and then goes across every single page afterwards. So you should always be putting in keywords. Do some good keyword research. Make sure you can use a tool like Href. Always use a good keyword in there, and that's what you should be striving for. So don't just say plumber, but your keyword should be Tempe plumber or Scottsdale 24/7 emergency plumbing service. Those are all different keywords in there, and you can add it a couple times on the page. It starts to repeat itself. Don't want to go overboard, but just enough that Googlebot can read it and understand that, hey, this page is about X, not Y. So what can you add onto your website right now? One of the things in there I forgot to mention is alt text is a big thing as well, where you describe the image and you want to be able to use a keyword on that as well. So what are 3 things that you could implement today? Could be updating your text, shrinking or adding a text to your file, a better photo, determining the right keywords. So off-page signals. Remember, this is the radio tower. The show's going on. These are the waves going out there from tower to tower. It's that way you can actually communicate with Google, with Bing, with Yelp. What are we looking for here? So these are links, reviews, and profiles. If you don't have a Google My Business listing, get it right away. That's extremely important. You can't find yourself, nobody will find you on the map if you're not on the map. You want to start to work on citations and get them across the web. You can utilize programs like Moz Local, which will help you. You can just pay to get listed on certain ones, but it's Yelp, it's Angie's List, it's Foursquare, and then there's special ones. If you're a dentist, there'll be a slew of dental listings out there. If you're a chiropractor, there's a slew of chiropractor citation sites out there. Citation site is like a directory. It's like the new Yellow Pages, but online. In fact, Yellow Pages, you should be on that one. Now we also want to talk about backlinks. This is a good opportunity from having your name, having your links on other pages, other websites, link back to you. This is the radio tower swinging on back. And you want to make sure you have a good strategic content syndication. So that's part of that whole process in there. How are we going to get this message out to different websites and sell it and say, hey, will you please use this blog? Will you please let us be a host, and then like being on podcasts. People will do a whole entire blog post about and add a link to you. So a simple blog is just not quite enough anymore, but it is still good to always add that on there. Now, blogs can be on your website. They could be on your on a guest website as well. But you want to be able to go a little bit beyond. There's already enough content on the road, so you got to write creative, new, unique content. You got to make it stick out so Google can start to respect it even more and send people over here. You don't want to be the 1 millionth person to write about the exact same blog idea, or else you'll never move up. This is a little chart. I love this thing. Just kind of shows you the goods and the bads in here. So content is key. So we got to have the right keywords. They have to be relevant. We want to make the architectural is more the technology side of it. So we got to make sure that we have the right sitemap set up. Our website is secure. We're using good keyword inside of our URLs. All the way down to even the links, the quality of the links that we get, the backlinks in there. What are the user's experience like? My intent. If I was looking for X, did you send me to X or did you send me a Y page? If I want a plumber, emergency 24-hour plumber, don't send me to a new home construction plumbing page. So local SEO. SEO is 80% the same, 20% is different, but the 20% is going to be a big difference to help you. Don't be fooled if you are local, you have a local SEO plan. If you're a national company, you might have a different. Local goes with it, but if you're in e-commerce where you don't really service a particular area, then local SEO doesn't necessarily apply to you. So what are we looking at here? Well, it usually comes down to proximity, relevance, and prominence in there. So how close are you? This is why your address is really important. If I'm here with my phone and Google knows exactly where I'm at, and I just type in plumber, it's going to know that Kenny is based in Tempe. I'm right here. What's the 5 of the closest plumbers? This is why you want to be able to compete against your neighbors as far as your competitors. And then relevance. Is it the right industry that I'm typing in? Are the right keywords in there? It's not just a locksmith, but it might be a car locksmith. It might be a townhouse locksmith. So Google wants to know, like, am I searching for my car locksmith? They want to send me to the right type of service company. And then prominence. What are your reviews like? The better your reviews are on Google and you respond to them, the better like Google's going to respect you and say, you know what? You have a lot. You're a 4.8. I'm going to send them to you first. And then I'll put somebody with a 5-star second because you have 100 reviews. They only have 1 or 2 reviews. So it's not just about being a 5-star. It's about having good quality reviews in there. You want people to use keywords in there. So if I'm a locksmith, I want people to continue to say great customer service for the locksmith, for automotive locksmith. And a little tip, ask your customers for this. Say, hey, did I do a good job? Yes or no? And if they say yes, go, will you please send me a review? I would appreciate it. And hey, could you mind just talking about our 24-hour plumbing service? Or if you're a dentist, just say, would you mind talking about this exact procedure? Could you throw in that keyword in there? You can't say, hey, give me a 5-star, give me a 1-star. But you can go, will you please write about your experience on here? Local elements. A lot of it is going to be the same, but here are kind of the big things that we want to talk about. If you're a local service company, you got to make sure you have a main page for each service. Has to be a separate page. Same thing with your main cities. You want to have a separate location page for every single main city that you're working in. You need to do a lot more off site work with citations and directories. Backlinks do help from blogs, but the biggest thing to you is you need to get more reviews on your Angie's List, on your Yelp, on your Yext, and everything like that. You want to get more reviews, and you want to put relevant keywords in those reviews. Doing new blogs is going to help. There's a difference from a software company that has a lot of competition, but bigger across the nation. They might do content marketing. You need to do relevant blogs about your services, what they cost in your area. So if someone were to type in, how much do new Windows cost? You want to answer that because Google, again, will look at me and say, where's Kenny? He's in Tempe. Let's send him to a page of a nearby company answering Tempe prices. Here's just an example of keywords that we like to work on. So if you're a plumber, the idea with service companies is you want to go city plus a service type. And here's just a slew of them in there. You can change this out for whatever your industry is, whether you're automotive. You could put Mesa car repairs, Mesa door dent repair. All of these should also have separate pages. Now, there are millions and millions of keywords. There are going to be different variations. Your city plumbing is the same idea as plumbing your city or plumbing near me. So there are different variations, but these are the general idea. You want to have a city type and you want to have a keyword type. Same idea with HVAC. Here's just some more that we wanted to share with you guys. So a new formula, just a recap, just to give you a good idea over here. There's a lot that goes into SEO, but you have to have a great website. Technical, on page, off page. It starts with the website. You want to know what keywords you're going after, the volume, the difficulty. Why are you going for these keywords? Is it relevant? Every page needs to be unique content. Testimonials could be unique on each page. The neighborhood you're working, case studies for every page could be unique. Build up your online reviews. That's going to help you, especially for local, but even for your product pages. If you're a product software company, there are ones out there. I think it's like Pilot Trust. I'm missing out the name on it, but it's something like that. People go on, they review your software. So build your citations, review and respond to reviews on it. Update your content consistently. As you add in more blog pages, you need to go to the old ones and link to the new ones. And you want to use good quality links. You don't want to just link every page on your website. There's something called link juice, and you only get 1 cup of link juice. So if you split that cup out across 50 different links, you get 1/50th. If you only spread that link juice across 5 cups, they get 20%. Look for good, relevant, strong keywords and start to chase those down. So what can you do? What can you do to start to implement? Some easy things to get started is just updating your own blogs. So think right now of 3 things that you could do that would allow you to actually start to improve your SEO. So at the very end of this, I want to give you guys a prize or a thank you for attending with us and paying attention today. If you guys are looking for an SEO audit, I love to do these things. They're always fun for me. We do give out free SEO audits. You can go to our website and check them out, or you can come on here and give me a call. We're more than happy to start getting together. No pressure on you. We send it to you. Say, here's what your strengths are. Here's what your weakness. If you want to do it yourself, you're more than welcome to do it yourself. Or if you would need help with us, this is where you can also ask us, and we can have a conversation about that. As well as we do a strategy session. If you want to do more than just SEO marketing, we like to do a whole strategy overview with you and say, hey, here's your strength, here's your weakness, here's your opportunities, here's your threats, the whole SWOT. The idea here is we'll ask you a few questions, kind of learn a little bit more about your business goals. Same idea applies. If you want to do it yourself, you can. If you're looking for help, we're more than happy to help you guys out. So same thing where we go through a lot of your keywords. We start to put together a plan. We will review your reviews, your citations, your social media, what ads are working or are not working. We can even talk about email marketing, how that all comes together. So if you have any questions, otherwise I'm going to get moving forward. So let's wrap this all together. Digital dominance. Today we just talked about SEO, which I think is one of the most valuable forms of marketing there is out there. But for digital dominance to work out, there are usually 3 key ways that we talk about for local companies and even product companies, how people find you. And that's that initial contact. So we've got pay-per-click, we've got search engine optimization, and local SEO. We want to have a flywheel effect where the flywheel is all these things working together. Not independently, but working together. The nice thing in here is no matter how somebody first meets you, that initial contact, you want to get them in the flywheel. You want to get them in the emails, display ads. You want to do retargeting with them and even focus on social media and get them to follow you. Throughout this whole experience, we can start to implement educational content, teach them how, what, why, where. Then we want to start doing promotional content, which is buy from us now. Here's a special. Here's the services that we do. And then authority content, which is here's our case studies. Here is our testimonials. Here's us being listed top 100 in this, the number one person in Phoenix for that. That all helps get people lower and lower in the funnels so they can get more used to you and ready to buy from you. So what I want to do is actually give you guys a special offer today, a webinar offer. So if you're watching this live or on the repeat and you've made it this far, I want to give you guys a special offer. And the idea is because your website is so important and is the core element, I believe, to marketing success, we want to give you guys a discounted website. What we're offering today is $1,000 off the websites. And I think you'll be very happy with what you get. There is a difference between the basic and the premium. It really just comes down to quantity out there. $1,500 for a website is a really, really good price. $3,500 for a premium one is going to be better as well. If you're interested in this, go ahead and check us out. Go to go.adzing.com/website special offer page. In here, you can fill it out. We are keeping these prices up until March 31st, so there is some time you got to get in here. Now, when I say March 31st, I mean you have to go through the whole process. You have to sign the contract, and we have to get the initial payment on it as well. We don't want you to come back to us in a year or 2 years and be like, hey, remember when you said that? No, so it's March 31st, 2021 is when we actually have to have it all executed, initial down payment, and we're moving forward. Excuse me, my mouth is getting so dry. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this today. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. There's a lot of good content for SEO. Be careful. SEO is something that a lot of businesses hire and they get duped into it. They don't provide the right structure. They don't do the right content. They just focus on getting you to be the number one of a super easy keyword that gets 5 people per month, 10 people per month. You don't want that. You want to have a plan that can grow over time. It's just like a farm, just like growing a whole field. It's going to take time. It's going to take dedication. But when you get it there, it's going to really be the best game changer for your marketing. I'm Kenny Dayhill with Adzing Marketing. If you ever have questions, please feel free to call us or reach out to us. Send me an email as well, or come to our website and fill out a form. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.